Okay, so after many hours of sanding and polishing, we've now got the finished plug, the finished form, ready to start and build the mould off. I think it really has come out well. It's once you polish it that you start to really feel and see the lines. Just everything flows beautifully. I really love the headstock design. It was the area that I was a little bit concerned about at the start. Couldn't quite work out exactly how to form it. But I think it's become one of the really unique features on it. Our slotted headstock is looking beautiful. That's going to be fitted out with tuners that go up the way, so the knobs are going to be on top, so it's going to make it very easy for tuning. We've been asking you as well your ideas on bridge design. I give you 3 different bridges to choose from, and the one that I decided to go for was bridge number 3. So I think that really works beautifully with the overall design. I think it's really in keeping with emerald design, and put the fretboard on something like that. Gives you a good feeling of what it's going to look like. So yeah, that gives you a good idea. We molded the sound holes in. We molded this access panel here that allows to get into the inside of the guitar. And just kind of see now the scale of this instrument. It's a big body. It's going to have a really big full sound. So I'm going to be really excited whenever we put the strings in this for the first time. So the next step now from here is to build the flange. Now the flange is basically it's a flat surface that's molded to the widest point of the guitar, and then we'll use that to start and build the mold. So what we've got to make sure is whenever we make the mold that our join line is always at the widest point. So what you'll see here is there's slightly tapered sides. The sides aren't 90 degrees. So I've got to mark up exactly where the widest point is, right the way around, especially in the headstock, which is quite a tricky bit, and then we can start then and build the molds. So you can follow along in that process as well. I'll show you a little bit on how we build the molds. Mightn't show you everything because there's a lot of it's not that interesting, but I'll certainly carry you through it as much as I can. I'm going to get on with this now, do a little bit more. So I've put a pencil line around the entire guitar now, and that gives me the widest point all around. What I'm going to do now is just highlight that with a Sharpie. What the Sharpie does is whenever I go to actually mold the join line, it transfers the mark onto the mold. So you'll see that in a little while. Okay, so that's the join line all done now. So that black line represents the widest point of the mold and where the join line is going to be. Probably one of the trickiest parts of what we do, and also one of the most important, because if we don't have that in the right place, say put the join line down here, when you try and take the guitar out of the mold or the mold out of the mold, it won't come. So very important to get that right first time. And I know that because I've got it wrong. Next step now, we'll start to mold the flange. So this board that I'm using was actually used previously for the Kestrel archtop. So we're just going to modify that slightly now, and this is going to become the edges of our mold. So you've probably got the routine by now. Mix, fill, sand. That's kind of a big part of my custom work, especially when we're making these sort of shapes. Now, and this is not something I do an awful lot. You know, it's only when I'm building a mold, a master mold. A lot of the custom work that I do is starting with a a standard guitar and modifying a component of it, like maybe modifying the neck width or changing a scale length or something. And that's a very different process. That's where you're just manipulating the carbon and working on an actual instrument. When you're making a design completely from the ground up, that's when it becomes a much bigger deal. And that's why whenever people ask me, do we do a left-handed harp guitar or do we do a left-handed acoustic bass? We don't. The only left-handed guitar we build is our X20, and that's because it would take an entirely new mould, and the cost of that for the return is very hard to justify. The good thing about a Weissenborn is it'll work both left-handed and right-handed, so you're only going to need one of this design. So normally right about now, I'm starting to realise just how big a project I've taken on, and I think it's very much the same on this one. We haven't made a mould for a few months, or in this case actually a couple of years. I start to realise, I forget just how many different steps there is in this whole process. And we're what, a week and a half in, it's still a long way to go. But it's always worth it, so I'll just keep going. Okay, so hopefully this will all come out now. It's been well waxed and should have enough space all around. Yeah. There we go. You can see that leaves a nice black line right the way around. So that's a guide now for where to stand to. Okay, so there's the flange, pretty much ready. First fill done, got very nice and neatly, just perfectly to the line. It all needs a second fill now, all those little air bubbles and little indents. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's kind of the pivotal day in the whole process. That's where we've gone from just making a shape to actually now starting to make a mould. So you can see now how that's going to make the mould for the back half of the whole guitar. And we'll make that back half first. And we'll take the flange away, put together to make a completely solid one-piece guitar. So that's it for today. I'll probably stay on here and do a little bit more, finish off some of the filling, but Dylan's going to go off and edit this up for you and put it all together and get it online. So again, thanks for following. Thanks for everybody that voted on the bridge design. I think we've come up with a really nice choice out of that. And we'll see you again tomorrow.